gasoline. 68 million cars need to feed. Toxic emissions like billions of snake venom watered down into organic compounds combust like an invisible boiling flower called liquid explosives in an everyday lust to misinform like knowledge of powerful situations in nature. Used like urine but combined with fractional distillation. Prohibition brings pedals falling off like the gunning failing of an accelerator pump. Necessary for transportation, jet black chimney soot. Corpse flowers can't touch the smell of a dominant essential oil that smells so good and fumes are comparable to Moroccan blue chamomile, frankincense, and more than musky scents at the pumps. Watch the people stare parked on the curb. The clocks are running out of batteries and the prices are bouncing like economies. Don't bring someone giving birth that'll spark pistons in a carcinogenic twisted form of a blunt volatility in unison with heat. 20 more million barrels for gasoline. 925 million miles to feed. Horse race crawl stock markets rise and dwindle like petals on the gasoline flower crises of continental energy consumption are based on contents valued at lower or hotter energies, descending like flattening tires. Get higher in temperatures like a lit cigarette, but don't throw it. The gas prices might just go down. Wait a second. Study fiberglass insulation, eat more meals, and persuasion from newspapers will leave holes in the pieces connecting long lines like overfished cheap gas stations, exploding with all kinds of energy at $5 a gallon. And what the fuck happened? The old timers said 35 cents was high. The compression ratios don't make sense because everything is so dry and dense like humidity, teratogenically regardless of terminology. Matched up with a maximum overdrive, like a great metaphor to realize just what happens all the time. The cars and fuel become more valuable than people at night. 7 billion birds alive that never speak. 311 miles dividing these. 20 million crude barrels for gasoline. Wash away the money divorce like banks and finances or bloody laundry. Authors and savages with shallow trajectories. Watch originality unveil and energy solutions turn wildfire. And tragedies become victims of sanity and mustered up reactions to confusion, like pumps winding around and snakes humping loose, capless gas tanks that want to be closed, tight, not flappy wappy, or fixed with certain prices to budget for economically living with 44 billion gallons of gasoline. 68 million cars that need to eat. 44 billion gallons of gasoline. 7 billion breaths of life that hardly speak. 311 million miles dividing these. 20 million barrels for gasoline. 44 billion gallons of gasoline. 925 million miles to feed. 68 million cars that need to eat. 44 billion gallons of gasoline. Running with the knowledge of the lumber that's been gone, alongside unconscious smiling grills with power, focused on passionate half-human money wheels, rolling around like astrology, seeping up through the ground and down from the stars, feeding a weary world that's used to cook food rather than spoon-feed adults knowledge. And if peace is power, then why aren't we breathing through the trees and realizing these wads of money stuck in orbit are circling around a drilled hole like a dead penguin's eye frozen to the world, barley and disease pushed down like a crop circle tattoo. The earth ferments into these vinegary droughts slithering across the south, curling up into deficit, and land gets unsprawled into 10 billion lost, so innocent and roughly calculated like wads of tissues caused by American pieces of loss, mirrored defenseless without international security. Stop. And imagine the pretentious nature of that. Or lives stretched out never to taste again banana cream pies. Or all the spent chemical warfare is alive and wages matching up with crazy ideologies bellowing out of existence, and we forget that peace is power. Peace is power. Like games of dice or dominoes, and immigrants from all over the world find a part of the big grand dream. As canyons without freedom ring, and outsiders stare at their lives, screaming like lotions of landmarks, confused by all these wars that opened up a hellhole from the vault inside of the doors locked. It's like a keyhole with horrors. So small, peace or power. And life shaped around such a beautiful world brings forth wisdom and radiates into security and land that forever finds and speaks and hears and tastes and acknowledges these things that we forget to see sometimes, like atomic mushroom clouds or temporarily fogged optical lenses that need cleaning out. Whirlwinds of fear leaving us in suspension, fog, immobilize and leave people motionless, and revival inspires something to happen. Pick up every decline and straighten out, wash into survival, cause that's what happens. Bounce through wavelengths that have causes instead of curses, or spectacles without horror, like shadows overheard from the Egyptians and scarab beetles and desert winds from the floor.
Nosotros ganamos, pero que gritamos y las muchachas
tienen las tetas grandes y tetas pequeñas, like blood types mixed in languages, hiss or forecast, none of which we can predict, but the forecast says television is a screen to phase and space out to mesospheric, dualistic, preconceived mental constructs. There's nothing to learn from. It's based on clouds in the sky which darken. It implies that more thunder and rain and too much drama are on the way, like predictions never coming from the hot plastic bitch on the fucking news, who keeps her front up and wipes the iPad from her face. Botox to prevent disgracing some made-up idea about beauty, visible on commercials displaying this beast called the Earth that surrounds us as we fly through the clouds and the skies darken like a forecast. Stormy, hydrologically cycled, hurling rain like a pagan story about an apocalypse swirling uncontrollably, or a pattern that swims in fences and nets, and we should curl up like fetal position babies, absorbing any energy like endorphins, because plans are for casting lies out like stones. Skip the stream on the computer screen and look at some ghosts in the sky, or on Telemundo like the Dia de los Muertos, filled with spinal cords twisting around as more lightning bolts spark the sound of trees falling to lack comprehension and completely understand what's been calling, with heavenly forecasts that keep sprawling all over the place. Watch the stocks falling and sterling, with silver automobiles stalling through the streets, gnawing on millionaire vagrances, reaching every town across every continent, and the forecast says it's gonna be a hot one. We fly through the clouds and the skies darken like a forecast, and dolphins swim around the brains of innocent youth. Watch that dolphin pump that dude while adult-rated material is printed, and journalists are dying trying to profit on pictures. Dismembered human beings cut up by organized sacrificial leaves, like a fall filled with things always rotting. The earth feels frozen and the sun keeps burning. The forecast gets interrupted for Special Olympians trying to sprint to overhaul courses labeled Republican, and amateur means professional. Media players play hypocritical, and the forecast hits like horizontal hail and the lack of control. Predictions melt down around us, refrain to responding, and some responses from compository ignorant writing squad like a newspaper caused by video graphics blindly following reality like an inside joke, or a bunch of cults where invasive eyes are numbing, and the solstices of a black hole have been mourning the loss of control, being sucked up and regurgitated like a cyclical orbit of hydrological fortresses, hurling more rain and cleansing fragments of intelligence based on mechanical, invisible, animated switches and characters translated from North Korean into landslides down in Patagonia. Drink the water from the melting glaciers, choke on it unless you can't think straight. The human consciousness gears all over the place, just like the sunshine in a mind caving in. Seek some shelter, eyeballs read some jet streams, wherein people just don't know that the forecast is wrong. It's not Disney, it's the look of confused and isolated inside. Too many cross-burdened individuals, like bipolarism from a unilateral dimension, denoting a world against something that's always invading. Some invasion as the pheromones bounce off my insides. Y las muchachas tienen las tetas grandes. My body curves around like a clown on TV, peeking out from a soundstage.